The wise old owl. Once upon a time, in a thick forest, there lived an old owl named Oliver. Oliver lived high up in the big oak tree. Everyone in the forest knew him as a wise old owl. He was known for being very quiet and observant. Unlike many other animals, Oliver didn't talk much. He instead listened more and watched everything that happened around him. Every night, when the sun was set and the forest became quiet, Oliver would open his big eyes and come out of his tree. He would sit on a branch looking down at the forest below. He watched the other animals and learned from everything they did. One day, there was a big argument in the forest. A group of people and animals gathered near the pond and they were all shouting at each other. The squirrel named Sammy had accused a rabbit named Rosie of stealing his nuts. Rosie, on the other hand, was very upset and she was done nothing wrong. The animals joined in, supporting Sammy and others supporting Rosie. The argument grew louder and louder, and soon everyone was yelling. The Oliver, who was sitting quietly in the oak tree, watched the scene below. He could see that the argument was not helping anyone. He knew that if the animals keeps fighting, they would never find any truth. So Oliver decided to help. He spread his wing and flew down to the pond. Where the animals saw Oliver coming, they became quiet. Oliver landed on a branch near the pond and looked at the animals. He spoke in his calm, deep voice. Why are you shouting? Shouting will not help you to solve your problem. Instead, try to understand what really happened. Sam the squirrel spoke. Rosie stole my nuts. I had them to store my tree. Now they are gone. I saw Rosie near my tree yesterday, so it must be her. Rosie, with her trees in his eyes. I didn't take your nuts, Sammy. I was only looking for some berries near your tree. I would never steal your nuts from your tree. Oliver listened carefully, both of them. He took his animals and said, we cannot solve this problem by blaming each other without knowing the fact. Let us now calmly act. Then he asked Sammy, Sammy, did you see Rosie taking your nuts on your own eyes? Sammy hesitated and said, no, I didn't see her take them. I only saw she was near my tree. No, Oliver nodded. So you accuse that Rosie took your story nuts because she was near your tree? Sammy looked and feeling a bit embarrassed. Yes, I guessed. I assume it. Oliver then turned to other animals. Sometimes we are quick to blame others without knowing the whole truth. We should always be careful making such accusations. Then, just a small voice spoke up with a little mouse named Max. Max looked nervous and said, I think I know what happened to the nuts. Everyone turned to Max. Max continued, I saw a group of crows near Sammy's tree yesterday. They were picking something and flying away with it. I think they might taken the nuts. Oliver smiled kindly at Max and said, Thank you, Max, for sharing what you saw. And he was looked at Sammy and Rosie. You see, Sammy, it wasn't Rosie who took your nuts. It was crows. Rosie was innocent all along. Oliver took that old animal and said, this is why it is important to stay calm and listen before jumping into conclusion. The animals nodded and understand the lesson that Oliver had taught them. From that day on, whenever there was a problem in the forest, the animals remembered what Oliver had taught them. Oliver continued to live in his oak tree, watching all the forest, and he was happy to see the animals were now more thoughtful and kind to each other. The moral of the story is, true wisdom comes from listening, observing, and understanding. Before making any decision or blaming each other, we must always take some time to understand the situation fully. Staying calm and listening to others can help us to find the truth and make better choices. So kids, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching.